This is Mirabella's kitchen, and today I'm making my grandma's aged provolone pizzas. One is going to be made with an onion sauce and one is going to have olives. If you'd like to cook with me, please check the description below for a list of the ingredients and a shout out to my patrons. I start by taking 2 large yellow onions. I remove the peel, cut them in half, cut off the root, and slice them pole to pole, which is with the grain. I take a sauté pan, heat it over medium-high heat, and add some olive oil to the bottom of the pan. I want enough olive oil to coat it. Once it is hot, I add in the onions, and I coat them in the olive oil. I'm going to let them cook until they are translucent. I cover them and let them cook for 5 to 10 minutes. I ended up burning some of them, so I recommend either stirring them more consistently or turning the heat down to a medium or medium-low and keeping a close eye on them. I then add a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and I stir to have the onions coated in the tomatoes. I then add in 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese and stir to combine. I turn the heat down to low at this point and let it simmer while I prepare the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to be using aged provolone. Aged provolone is a slightly darker and also harder cheese. It's slightly more stinky. I use the slicing aspect of my cheese grater. Not every cheese grater has it, but I like to use it because it gives me a thin slice that's usually between 1 and 2 inches long. I am using wedges of aged provolone, which I found in my specialty cheese section at my grocery store. I like to cut them in half so they're a bit easier to use on the slicer where I'm not knocking my hand into everything. I'm using 1/2 to 3/4 of a pound. I'm also using about 15 ounces of Kalamata olives. They have been pitted and I am halving them. I take 2 pizza pans, so you can also do this 1 pizza at a time. I put some olive oil on a paper towel and I like to brush the pizza pan with it. I am using store-bought dough. I like to add a little bit of flour to my hands before working with the dough and a little bit of flour onto the dough. And then I take it and rotate it in circles while grabbing the edges to try to make a circular shape that is started to thin out. I want it to be thin but not breaking. Once it is mostly circular, I add it onto the pizza tray and I smooth out the edges to form a circle. So with my second dough, I added too much flour to my hands and also while trying to work it. It started to have a lot of rips in it. It wasn't easy to pull. It wasn't as stretchy. It was more springy. So, I don't know. I always have crisper crusts when I have too much flour on them, but I don't think this is the way. And I highly recommend using less flour. So I have one very pretty one, and I have one kind of ugly dough. Next, I add aged provolone first onto the dough. So I like to go in a circle working from the outside of the dough in, and then I like to go back over everything to see if there's any open areas, and I add in some extra cheese there. Very nice and organized circle of cheese and a kind of more messy circle of cheese. It kind of worked out that way. So for one pizza, I add the onion sauce. I recommend not putting as much onion sauce as I did. I used almost everything that I had in the sauté pan. I recommend using 1/2 to 3/4 of it. I do recommend this because the dough did cook through, but it was very moist. I think there was too much sauce that was not letting it get nice and crisp. So I recommend a thinner sauce. You can store the rest in the freezer and use at a later date. Or make more than one pizza. Like make 4 pizzas. I put that into the oven for about 21 minutes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. For the olive pizza, I like to again put everything in circles. It's mostly circular, but you can do whatever you want. You can do a design, like a heart or a star. You can have fun with it. This goes into the oven at 425 degrees for about 18 minutes. I like to put them on the middle rack. I recognize I have 2 ovens, so if you're doing this in one oven, you can do one at a time. Next, I like to check the crust about 15 minutes in for each pizza. This one is not cooked through enough. It's still kind of white and it's not very crisp, so I put it back in for another few minutes. And same with the olive pizza. The contrast is off, so it looks very white, but it wasn't really crispy yet. After 21 minutes, I take the onion pizza out. I like to separate the bottom of the pizza from the pan, just so I have an easier time cutting it and it's not sticky when I'm trying to pull the pieces up. And I like to cut the pizza into 1/8. So I like to cut it in half, cut it in 4ths, and then cut each 4th into halves. So there will be 8 total pieces. Look at that color. And I do the same for the olive pizza. I cut it in 1/8. My olive pizza was having a lot of trouble staying in place when I was cutting it, so I was having a little fun with it. And you have to have one of each when you make this pizza. And those are aged provolone pizzas. Thanks for joining me today. I make new videos on cooking every Thursday. Please support me on Patreon and on Facebook at Mirabella's Kitchen.